party's over.
Hey Best Pally, I'm Allie, and I've gone from fully shoed to 1 year of barefoot shoes to a 10-week journey to fully barefoot. Now that I'm able to comfortably handle terrain with no protection, I would love to be barefoot all the time, but I live in a big old dirty city and that is ill-advised. So now I'm on a quest to get as close to the ground as possible while still technically wearing foot covers. The 3mm sole on my Vivo barefoot shoes still feels like way too much protection. So I spent a full week testing out these barefoot sock shoes. That's 2mm better, but can we get even more barely shoed? Enter these stick-on foot pad thingies. Are these the way to achieve as barefoot as possible in a big city? It's time to put them to a ton of tests. First test, do they even stick? I am skeptical. Also, I measured my foot to get the right size. They come in medium, large, extra large, and small. Should have started with small. I'm going with pink first to accentuate my dainty lady cave person feet that are now splayed out because, oh, I've been wearing toe spacers for, well, coming up on a year now. Stay tuned for that video. Put this paper back over the adhesive. Don't know why it needed to be graph paper. This is super thin, love it. And I did the wrong foot. Starting with heel, working my way up onto the toe, which is separated from the other toes. It is stretchy, so it can kind of reach where it needs to. That's cool. Okay, all of my toes are on and confirmed. That is on there, stuck. I don't think, yeah, no, it's not coming off. All right. Feels like I got extra skin. Now the other side obviously needs to be a different color. These are thinner and nicer quality than I expected. See how it's all weaved? And the adhesive along the bottom is in this wavy pattern. There we go. Also, my feet are not the cleanest and it's still very much sticking, so that's a positive. I might have liked all these toes to be separate, but then that leaves more space for grime and weirdness from the city to get up in there. Okay, officially double padded. Now, test number 2. How do they feel? Whoa, weird. It is not barefoot, but it's not barefoot. I feel like I could forget that they're there, but also not forget because I also feel protected. This is cool. It's just like a superhuman skin underneath, but my feet can do every little movement like they were barefoot. And it doesn't feel sticky or gross. It's barely there, pun. The next test is social stigma. Did you want to go for a walk?
Yeah, what are you wearing?
Almost nothing, but I do have shoes on.
Looks weird and uncomfortable.
It's not. It's actually surprisingly comfortable.
It looks like tape. Like duct tape.
Yeah, it is a little bit tapey, you're right.
A little homelessy.
Hey! We call that a fail on this test, and now time to try them in the streets. Oh, let's go! This feels great. I would not be comfortable doing this actual barefoot, but somehow I feel super fine. Oh yeah, and this black top, I can tell that it's really hot, but not burning. If I was fully barefoot, there's no way I could have been able to handle that. I've definitely got my feet stronger to be able to walk barefoot, but they still can't handle the heat. This is making a huge difference on my comfort level. So it really does look like I'm straight up barefoot. I didn't think about the homeless aspect, thanks.
I mean, not that there's anything wrong with being homeless. I just think
That's a good point.
Protecting your feet from LA streets. I feel like if you lived on the beach and somewhere nice, it would be different.
Well, that's why I'm doing this, because I'd like to be fully barefoot, but I'm thinking this is somewhat of a protection.
Honestly, my dog should probably have shoes in this city.
Bird crap, gum, cigarette butt. Oh no, wait, my heel is lifting up. Beep, that's not good. I can't. Let me just sit on this discarded piece of furniture. Oh, LA. There we go. Not as sticky as I would like. Stay, please. It's a sign I drag my heels with my gait. Whoa, this black is even hotter. I absolutely would be on fire without these. And now to test them out in the most well-known no shirt, no shoes, no service establishment, 7-Eleven. Hello.
Hi. Don't take the picture inside.
No videoing? Okay, gotcha. I just went to 7-Eleven. He yelled at me for filming.
Not the shoes?
No.
Wait, you can't film in 7-Eleven.
I guess not, but you can certainly walk in almost barefoot. I have this one I usually shoot on, which is huge and intrusive, and so I got my little GoPro to try and get away with it. Didn't even flinch at the no shoes. If you are gonna try these out, don't dive into walking. Ooh. Okay. Ow. Something's stabbing through. What I was saying is don't dive right into using these on cement for a long time. I wore barefoot shoes for a long time and then worked my way to fully barefoot. I first had to strengthen all my little tiny foot muscles so I didn't injure myself. And also you gotta relearn how to walk barefoot because you did know as a baby and then you started wearing shoes. so your feet were all cushioned and you felt safe striking your heel and stepping really wide. And those strikes over time can work their way up from your ankle to your knee, to your hips, to your back, and cause problems. So the cave person walking is landing mid-foot, cushioning yourself and not doing such as wide a step, but doing a lot more steps. And if you dive right into these, or barefoot, or even barefoot shoes, you might keep striking your heel and cause even more problems. So you have to pay attention and be careful as you're transitioning, and also, it is getting hot now. So for the walking on the street test, I'm gonna call this a fail pass. Pass fail? Let's go through all the pros and cons. 1, they were very good at protecting me from the heat. There's no way I would have been able to handle that in 90-degree weather. 2, they absolutely give me that barefoot feel that I so desire to have all the time. I felt very connected to the ground, and my stride was pretty much exactly the same as when I'm barefoot. And now the cons, though I was protected from the heat, you saw I still got stabbed with a thorn, which is not even a city problem. That would happen in nature. But what I'm really worried about is something like glass, and I'm not gonna test out walking on glass for you, sorry. I'm pretty sure that these would not protect against that. Or a bottle cap, or a screw, or an actual bee. I guess bee is still nature, but if we're talking about serious city hazards, I'm still walking around being very careful. I might as well have been barefoot. Another con is the fact that they are very beat up, and that was a very short walk. It is still hanging on, but spots like this where it got pulled back, I am actual barefoot right there. Coming back inside the house. So we have a no shoe policy to keep it nice and clean in the house. And normally when I'm barefoot, I'll put my socks back on to kind of keep my dirty feet in here. But there's no way that I'm putting a sock over that either. And the next test, sustainability. I'm coming in and out of the house a lot. That would mean buying dozens of these per week. That is also a fail. And now the next test, removal. Whoop, that was easy. Oh dang, and my foot is still pretty dirty underneath. You can see the pattern of the glue, how crazy. I would still call that a success on the removal. I don't feel like there's a lot of gunk, it's just dirty, and I would have dirty feet anyway if I was going barefoot. The next test will require some butchering, because I wanna know if they work with toe spacers. Maybe this is why they have the grid on the back. Pretty small flaps for each individual toe once you cut them up. Maybe I should have went more curved with it. Okay, that looks better. Don't go straight down when you're trying this at home. I imagine I'll get better at this placement too, the more I do it. Heel, stretch it on. I'm really trying to cover a wide surface area this time. Feels almost like that would hold better. It also feels like I did a good job picking the right size, although if it was smaller, I bet I could still stretch it to fit. And now, can they toe space? Feels just fine to me. Success. And now the next test. I want to know if they're re-stickable. These are still in good condition. I did not walk outside with them. Can I take it off? And then later put it back on. Still feeling sticky. Nice, yeah, this is just as adhesived as it when I first started. Especially for all the little toe spots to stick. Awesome, you can take them off and put them back on as long as they've not gotten super gross by walking outside. The next test is driving. Pass fail, I would give this a meh. It's feeling pretty much like barefoot. I don't think it's any safer, and then it still may be less safe than wearing well-fitting shoes. But contrary to a common belief, it is not illegal in any of the 50 states to drive with no shoes on. But it's not like driving hurts my feet, so I don't need an extra layer of protection. I could just be barefoot right now. And now the biking test. I'm not even leaving my yard for this because I already know the results. I learned this in the barefoot sock shoe review. It doesn't feel like you get the benefits of barefoot walking because you're not rolling through your feet and using all those muscles. So it feels like it's not useful to be barefoot on a bike, and the danger involved is just not worth it. So yeah, just like the barefoot sock shoe, these add a bit of protection from the pedals if I'm biking barefoot, but really, there's no use for that. Next test is hiking. I know I said the goal of this video was urban barefoot, but I did mention that when it's 90 degrees, I still can't handle it in nature. Even though I've built up my toughness, I haven't gotten that far, so I'm thinking these foot pads could be a nice interim until I get even strong enough to handle any temperature. Oh no. We got a fail going on. That is the one that I tried to reposition. Oh dear. The single stuck one is still holding strong. But now it's cool because I can tell the difference between the two. And it is a difference. This little thin pink nothingness is making me protected. The question is for how long? But for sure we learned if you're gonna stick a second time, they won't be as resilient. And I've also learned that stretching them is maybe not the best because now this area is lifting off. They seem to have stuck better when I just laid them on, so if you're doing this at home, don't stretch them. Made it 2 miles, but it is mangled. Just toes out, barely hanging on. I would call that a fail for the hiking. If this were just a nice beach walk and I was protecting myself from the hot sand, I think they would have held up better. But this is rugged terrain. Shoes, ew, get out of here. I had to wash my feet after hiking, so the test of keeping my feet clean is a fail. And you can kind of still see some of the wavy pattern there. It's not sticky, but there's definitely some adhesive making those dark lines. Now, I mentioned beach. Of course, we gotta do a water resistance test. We will be using a simulated beach for this experiment. Splish, splish. Okay. Feels kind of like I'm wearing those water shoes, you know, that you wore when you were a really cool kid. They still seem to be sticking. I don't know, we got some release here. For sure they are soaking up the water. This one's holding nicely. Huh. Yeah, I don't think the adhesive got dissolved by the water or anything. And now the water's being held on the bottom of my feet, so my feet are cooler than the rest of my body, which would be really nice on a hot beach day. Oh no, I take it back. They're giving up. These little toes are releasing on this side too. That would not be pleasant on a hot beach day. The sand would just get stuck underneath there. Oh, interesting. Once they dried, they stuck back on, so they're good as new. And now, I said I wouldn't walk on glass for you, but for the final test, we're doing something even worse.
Clean that up. Now it's trash. You're cleaning all that up.
Sure.
Now. Party's over.
Hold on, I gotta see if these foot pads work. Oh my goodness. I'm superhuman. Go ahead, try. Yeah, because you can't. Because you don't have foot pads like me.
I'm working fine.
You got socks on, cheater. Oh, I guess we're just pointing out that the foot pads are like socks. But there's socks where you can't see them. Now you saw all the passes and fails. Are these a long-term solution for all my city walks? No. All the pros did not outweigh the cons. I bought these in a 6-pack, and so that was about $2.60 each. If I'm gonna have to be doing this consistently, that's gonna add up. And they really don't seem to be that much protection from crazy city hazards or urban filth, but they were a huge protection from heat. Even around the outside edge, my heel hurts from where it was exposed onto the asphalt, so that made a big difference. So I'm thinking these will be a once-in-a-while solution when I want to have a very adventurous walk, but not all the time. If you like this, you'll like seeing when I walked a full marathon in barefoot shoes plus 10 pounds of weight on my ankles. I'll put that down there for you. Hey Best Pally, I'm Allie, and last year at the YouTuber convention, VidCon, I put on my first pair of barefoot shoes and then ended up walking a full marathon in them. But now that I've been wearing barefoot shoes for a full year and even going full barefoot,